All right, we are in the Far East 9-hole Cup. I shot 2 videos. I shot 3 hours worth of video and had no sound. And I got totally irritated about it. I'm lucky I didn't throw my device. I was not a happy camper. So if I say shit today, I have no idea what I've already said and what I haven't said. So shit, here we are. We're in Friday's qualifying round. Par 4s. Love par 4s. A lot of good holes. Let's check them out. Let's see what we can get done here. Here we go. Hole number 1. All right. Now, is this hole number 1? Let's make sure. This is hole number 1. The first time I ever saw anybody do a max overpower hook shot was on this hole. And I was like, what the hell are you guys doing? Now I know. All right. In one-on-one play, I always just lay it up to right here, and I like this hole because in one-on-one play, I always try for dunks because you can do a dunk. The green is like this, and the flagpole's down here. So if you miss the dunk, it'll just end up coming up here and then come back down. Now, unless you wildly miss the rough or the dunk, it has no chance of getting in the hole when it comes back down the hill, but it will come right back down to the cup. So if you're in one-on-one play and you're just dicking around, I always like to try and do the dunks on this hole. This is a really fun hole. Another thing, you can come at it where I think most people are probably going to end up in this area, although you can get down in here in the throat. But one of the things about this is an old hole. This was in Tour 3 when the game started off. It's in Sakura. And you know, it was possible to get down in here, but we didn't have 5-power topspin boost balls and all that stuff. So to try and get actually on the green, I think is going to be, it's still tough because you got to contend with this little peninsula right here and getting your bounces so that you can bounce over it. You kind of got to go through that throat. So you have a couple options here. You can try and get your trajectory right so that you're doing this with curl to get it down through there, or side spin, because we've got big side spin balls now, which is something we didn't have in the past. You want to get in front of this sand trap so that you can maneuver around in front of it in order to get your trajectory right to go through that gap. But in my mind, we want to get on or like right off in 1 is the goal. I think a lot of people are probably going to end up right up here in front of the sand. It's still an excellent shot, but it is possible to get on here. I haven't played this hole in a long time, so let's go try it out. Let's see what we got. I definitely want to bring topspin. Let's bring out a 4-power ball that's got some juice to it. There's a topspin boost. We'll try it out. We'll try it. Yeah, I spent a bunch of gems buying practice token stuff and went out and shot video and no sound. I was like livid. I was really hoping that they were going to have just straight up 4-4-4s this week because I really need some gems, but no dice. The balls this week are actually, I've got what is it? I've got a ball that's very similar to the one that's for sale. So we got a 5-4-3-2 with 3 wind, 4 power, 2 topspin boost, 5 side spin, 3 wind. And what's the one that I'm using? One less wind. So it's even better than that ball. Here, while we're here, I think I have a club card training. Maybe. Nope. Nope. No dice. No dice. Hole number 1. I'm just going to go out and like play them. This is the first time playing the holes for the week, so we'll just go out and see. We'll see what our options are on getting to them. I know from doing the walkthrough that I did the other day, there's a lot of these par 4s. We're still going to have to take shots from distance, but there are some of them that we can get on or right off in 1, and we're going to have to, we got to get all of those. It really looked to me like, you know, what, -9 is the minimum score if you just get the birdie on every hole, but there was at least 2 or 3 of them that we needed to pick a shot up on. That puts us at like 12, and then we need to pick up several more from that, so let's just pick them all up. Let's see what our options are. The question here is the side spin? Let's put all the top spin on. Let's get it out where we can deal with it. It's about 2 rings. Let's put that power back on it. 1 ring grade to the right. And see where our trajectory leads us. Right into the sand. I think we overshot the green. I think we made it through the gap. Didn't need quite that much topspin. The cool thing about recording your own videos, you can take a shot like that and you're just blindly taking the curl. You can go back and watch the video and see where you set it up. And then you can make adjustments based off of what you saw. But if you're not recording your own gameplay and you take that shot, you can go back and watch the replay, but it's not nearly as fun as going back and watching your own video. Because if you're recording your own video, then you can tell yourself, like, hey, on this hole right here, this is, you know, so that you can remind yourself, like, what you observed at the time. So important to record your own gameplay. So important. See what kind of distance I have here. And we just need to hit it perfect. Hitting it perfect. Get in the hole. Maybe. It's going to be close. In the hole. Ideally. Now, my opponent's probably in the spot that you're going to see most people be in. And that's probably, if they check their distance there, that's probably, I would think, probably about mid-inbringer. Maybe 60%, somewhere in that neighborhood. I wish they checked their distance. If they're a true inbringer user, they would check their distance. Or they've been in that spot so many times they know. But it's always a good idea to check. Especially if you're using the app and you're using a slider. In the hole. Hole number 1 in the bag. All right. Hole number 2. What is hole number 2? Hole number 2. And let's just hope that the video, and I'm getting sound recording, you'll know. All right, there's 3 ways that you can play this hole. You can shoot out into here, and if I remember correctly, this is wood, this is long iron, and this is short iron, depending on what ball you bring too. So you can just lay it up out here, and then you got a straight up shot to the green. You can go for the short iron shot, but you've got to maneuver over. You're really close to this, and your fail area is going to be right there. And so if we've got a headwind or any kind of wind, I always think about it like you draw a line, and this is our side of the line, this is the other side of the line. Anything on the other side is headwind, anything on this side is good for us that we can use if we need to. Or we can adjust it out really easily so that we can make really good adjustments. Getting down in here, if you got a tailwind or even maybe a pure side wind, you know, you still have to set it up, and you got to get the adjustment right. But you can get down into that area. But if I'm going to just lay it up right here. And so this is all about topspin. If you get your topspin wrong, you end up in the sand, and you can still recover from there. It's not a big deal, but you know, you want to be on the fairway. Now, the last time we played this hole, one of the things that I noticed was if you're in this spot and you're coming towards the green, this area right here is like this. You got the sand, and then it comes up, and then you're up on the green. It's pretty damn steep. And the rough area is like right in here. It's in a really steep part of the hill. So if you're trying to do a rough bump, or even if you're trying to get in front of it to run it up, what happens is the ball guide's got it's got to go up this hill. And so here's the flagpole, and your ball guide wants to stop there. And then you put that little teeny bit of topspin on it in order to get it to the flagpole, and all of a sudden your ball guide's going way past the flagpole.
What you doing?
Just shooting a video.
What are you gonna do tonight? Shoot videos?
All right, I'm back. So, on that particular deal, I found that if I came off if I brought a ball that had enough side spin and I came off over to the left-hand side, I was able to run the ball all the way to the cup, and the ball guide wasn't getting all wonky with me. So in my experience with this game is if the ball guide is short, so you're here and it's short, it's going to end up short. And then if you put that little bit on and then it's long, it's going to end up long. Now if you hit the flagpole, usually you're going so fast when you hit the flagpole that it'll bounce off and it's not going to be a good deal. But when you find those areas where it's doing that, you need to do one of two things. You need to find a different spot, or you need to put on backspin and you need to get closer to the hole so that you can get up on the flat part where the green's at. So you're up here instead of starting your shot off down here. But in this case, I don't want to do that. I want to move off to the side so that I can run a little bit of spin and get the ball to respond correctly. I cannot remember what the adjustment was that we were doing here, but I know that there was one. So I'm going to start off with we'll see. First we got to get the drive down so that we can get into the right spot down there. And if I remember correctly, it wasn't very much topspin. And I think I was using a Kingmaker and a rock. My number 2 bag. Off we go. And I'm either going to do maybe a 10-15% adjustment. It didn't seem like it was a big adjustment. But I know there was one. And it seemed like this shot, there was only just a little bit of topspin. I wasn't having to use much. I'm going to just use 2 with that tailwind. It's 2.5. I'm going to do 2.75. Hit me perfect. El Perfecto. I probably could have put on a little more spin. And the wind definitely pushed me off to the left. Choice the wind blowing, yep. Let's see when they line it up here. Is it pushing to the left? No, it's actually pushing to the right, so probably could have put on just a little teeny bit of a little more right-hand side spin. Or a little bit more topspin on the drive. What I didn't like there was how close I came to that rough. So if you hit a 1-ring grate to the left, I put that rough into play on the left-hand side. My opponent's going for the shot that I was talking about where you're trying to get into your short iron range. And boom, there we go. Fail area. Okay, I got plenty of club. I'm in mid, but I'm going to do a max number, I think. Let's do 2.2, 5.9. I'm going to do 268. So 2.7. Hitting it perfect. See if I over pulled it. Ooh! And that was a with my Grizzly. And I will tell you, if you go to Golf Clash Notebook, or if you're looking in the app, so with a Grizzly, if you're using a power 0, 1, or 2 ball, its accuracy at max is 0.9 per ring if it's a maxed out Grizzly. And it's I think it's 1.1 at mid and 1.3 or 1.4 at I think it's 1.4 at max. But if you're using over a power 2 ball, so you're using a power 3 or bigger, it raises it up to 1.2, and it's pretty much the same on the mid and the min. But for whatever reason, I'm not getting it right. So I'm going to use the 0.9 every time, regardless of the ball, because it's just not, you keep doing the same shit over and over again. You keep being off, and then you need to work the math for the 0.9 instead of the 1.0. And it's like, wow, if I'd have made that adjustment, I would have been like right there. So I'm going to make that change even when I'm using a power 3 or a power 4 or a power 5 ball. If I'm hitting with my Grizzly, I'm doing 0.9 per ring if I'm using my max number, and I'm going to work that and see how that works, because the 1 is not working. So on that particular thing, I did 1.1. I added on 10% at 2.2 wind divided by 0.9 per ring. I was hitting max even though I was at mid club. And just a little short. You're going up that hill, so it lost a little speed. So there's not really, I don't have any more. If you brought a Goliath, you'd have as much topspin as you want. And you wouldn't have to get so damn close, because like here's the rough area, and I was like half a ring away from that rough, and that's not normally my MO, especially with this kind of wind, because if you make a bad adjustment, you're not giving yourself very much room for error. Whereas with a Goliath, you could pull yourself back and give yourself a little bit more room against the rough line, and you've got a shit ton more topspin so that you could get yourself there. So I may switch that up to a Goliath, and if with a Goliath, with a power 3 ball, you probably want to bring, with a power 3 ball and a Goliath, like here's your max, here's your minimum, here's your mid. I was pretty close to mid with my Grizzly, and the Goliath hits farther. So that means that the mid is up. And so I'm probably going to be somewhere in between mid and min. You might be better off bringing out a Katana with a Goliath, if you're going to use a Goliath, so that you could be right at that mid number. Hole number 3. Hole number 3. All right, I got to remember how to play this hole. So this is one of the newer holes, and I've only played it the one time that we had in a tournament. But I can tell you, I was playing it from over here, and Dunner was playing it from over here. He was literally trying to lay it up as close as he could to the end, and just in-bringering it in. I don't think it was max in-bringer. It was somewhere between mid-max. So once again, if you got a slider, it works out really well. But it's pretty flat from down here, so not a lot of adjustment other than taking the shot. But if you can come from over here and bring it around, you can actually get on in one. But I think the side spin was the deal here. So let's see what we got. Let's see. I'm not sure I need to bring out anything bigger than a power 3 ball, but I'm not going to swear to that. I'm going to keep that 444. Let's look at my power 3 balls with side spin. I'm going to bring that ball right there. And save those topspin boost balls if I can. And if that ball doesn't work, if I need more, I'll bring out a 444. We'll see how that works. All right, here we go. Here we go. I should practice this once. I've only played this hole maybe 6, 7, 8 times. Most of these holes I could play them in my sleep. I've played them so many times. The deal is you can't. The deal is that because of the new ball inventory that we have and the stuff that we have, some of these older holes, that I've played so many times I could play them in my sleep, you got to rethink them. You got to go back out there and look at them and see what's possible with the new stuff, because depending on the wind, shots that we couldn't take before might be possible now. And there is a hole that's coming up that there was a shot that we could do on it, a max overpower shot that we could hit through the trees back in the day. that hasn't been available, but I'm curious to see if we had a tailwind with a big power ball and topspin boost, whether or not we could actually achieve that goal. My opponent is hitting it down there. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. That's what we call no bueno. That is bad. Bad, my friends. I think I only need about 2.5 topspin. Almost 3. I'm going to give myself 3 rings of separation. 3, 7 should be about 2.5 rings. Max curl. Hitting it perfect. And see if I got my topspin right where I could get to the other side. Yep, that's going to make it, but it's going to go 1,000,000,000 miles an hour. It's too much. Okay. And I almost went out of bounds. So I'll probably do that with a 1.5. What you're trying to do there, let me see if I can get, let's take a picture of that. We'll go back and look at it and see the arc. My opponent had the right idea on going to the other side. And the sign actually helped him. And I'm telling you that these signs from Playdemic, it's bullshit. Because if we're behind the sign, then we're, it's jacking us up when we're taking our shot. And those are not permanent fixtures out on the course. So they would move those fixtures and we wouldn't have to contend with them. But not in Golf Clash. In Golf Clash, if you're behind the sign trying to take your shot, then you're going to have an impediment in the hole, and you're not going to be able to get around it, and they would come out there and move that sign. So think about it this way. This is like if any of you are NASCAR fans, at the end of the race, they pull into the victory circle and they put the shit on top of their cars and sponsorship stuff, and the drivers have, even if those sponsors are, I'm driving the AT&T car and some other telephone company is sponsoring the series. That company's stuff's going to be on the car at the end of the race. But they don't put that shit on at the beginning of the race and have you drive around the track with it. Okay? 3 fans got killed last week at the NASCAR race because the freaking Verizon sign blew off the top of the car at 200 miles an hour and killed 5 fans that shit doesn't happen. And it's bullshit in this game that they could put that in there very easily so that the signs are not in play. So like right there, he bounced off the sign. Okay, but if you bounce off the sign and you end up behind the sign, you got a benefit because you bounced off the sign, but now you're screwed because you're behind the sign and you can't take your next shot. That sign should not be in play. If they want those signs out there so that everything's good and we can see all the sponsorship, then that's fine. But those signs should not be in play. That's bullshit. Bullshit. All right, hole number 4. Hole number 4. So let me see if I can get that picture. Let me see. Where is the picture? Just the picture right here. So if we look out, hold on. I got to get my other pen. You can't be using the pen from that app at the same time while you're looking at an image. It's kind of crazy. So if we look, so we're trying to land right here so that we can get some run up. But obviously we don't want to hit like I think I hit on the green and then like went where I went. I just want to hit somewhere like in this area so that I can hit and then roll out. So if we draw, like we're coming from the tee box and we draw out our line here. Let me change the color of that pen. Yeah, that's okay. Where is color? Where is color? There's the palette. There's the palette. Let's do orange. Orange. Done. So if we draw an arc for our shot arc, what we're looking for out here is, I was kind of like where my opponent was at. Like because you can't tell, even with the side spin, you can't tell like when you put the curl on there. So you look at your shot right here and you think, okay, you know, but if we draw just from that bounce is going to end up, if you put curl on the shot, so when the ball comes flying in, the ball's not going in this direction. You put curl on it, so you're trying to cut this angle. So now you're coming in from this direction, so the second bounce is going to be at the same spot where it was out here. So when you're setting these types of shot ups, you kind of have to draw in your mind's eye, like this is where I'm at. And if I apply curl and it affects the ball on the arc, then I'm going to be hitting over here, which is exactly what I did. So you've got a very fine line here between, like, you want to hit on this little rough patch, or not rough patch, but this little fairway patch, and you want to be as close to this edge as you can without getting OB, so that you can woe it up. So I think on there I had 3 or less, like less than 3, and we probably need to be like maybe 1.5 top spin. That'll be a shot that I'll have to, I really will have to go out and try that. And I think that was a practice round. It was practice. That's good. All right. So now I got to go out there and we'll get it done this time. We'll get it done. All right. Let's try that again. Let's try that one more time. Okay. I was kind of happy with the eagle and was just like willing to move on, but damn it, now I got to go get it again. That's all right. We need to get this right. And it did seem like last time we played it, it's very little. Very little. These are those areas. Make sure I'm a couple rings off. I'm not so sure. Well, maybe 3 rings. It's almost 4 rings. 2-8. Max curl. And I think I only put 1 on there, so I may be too little. I maybe had too much the last time and maybe too little this time. Nope, it's still going to make it over. And it still hit the green. I may have to put a little bit of backspin on it. I would rather the ball roll out to where it's supposed to go and the sign didn't benefit me than have what happened right there. Because I know that if you end up behind those signs, because they're in play. So yes, it could save you in some situations, but for those people that get caught behind it, that's totally, I mean, that's just not fair. That's not how it works in the real world. That's like having somebody have a cart on the cart path and you hit the ball over to that direction and then they go, hey, I can't move the cart. All right, let's see if we can make it. Let's see if we can hit perfect again. I'm not a big fan of when it goes in and out like that. Hitting it perfect. In the hole. All right. That works. I'm amazed at the little microtransactions that they've got in Golf Clash right now, and like to see what the numbers would look like internally on how many gems people have spent buying crappy little emojis I saw some, you know, like I don't really look in the store. I go down to the club car training and that's about it. But I actually stopped and glanced at the stuff that was in the store the other day, and like the epic emojis are like 1,600 gems. It's like, are you, like, you get those gems from real money. Think of what would be more important, having that gem, or you could buy a pack of Kingmakers, or a couple, 3 or 4 packs or of Titans. Which would you rather have? I got this emoji, so I'm cool. I can give people that emoji. And it's like, oh shit, I don't have a power 3 ball to use. What is the deal? All right. All right. Here we go. Hole number 4. Hole number 4. All right. This is the hole right here. In one-on-one play, this is a QB's, you could damn near use a sniper. I'm just trying to go to right here and hit over that tree. And that tree is not in play because from where you're at out here, you know, the tree is right here and you're over here. So the arc, you're at the apex of your arc damn near when you're going over the top of the tree. So the tree's not in play. And what I'm looking for is I want to use this mouth right here to be able to work my ball up. So that area looks like this, and I want to hit down here towards the bottom, and then my first bounce gets me over the hill, and then I'm up on the green making the run. This hole, I have made eagles on this hole, but this is a hole where it always seems like there's just a little bit of an irregular bounce. It's a weird hole, and you look at that rough there and you go, oh, there might be a rough bump there. Well, that rough, I mean, it's like here on that hill before you can get up to the green, and it is super steep right in here. So your first bounce, if you get it even a little bit wrong, is going to go straight up in the air and you're going to end up back in the sand. Or if you hit a little bit high, it can take a flat bounce and it can really run. So if you're coming at it, I think most people you're going to see are going to try and get way down into here, and this is going to be the fail area. You're going to see a lot of people either in the sand up here front, or they're going to be in this rough. Which isn't a problem. I mean, obviously you can recover from that spot, but it could be a problem because if you're a recovery club, you got to have a lot of backspin from this angle that you're coming at it. And this is an old green, so if you end up on the backside of the green, it could be a hell of a putt, even though it doesn't look like it's that big of a green. I think either, you know, just being up in here so that you can use that mouth, now you have some options. You could use backspin at it, or you can try and run it up. But I think you have more options if you're hitting into this area trying to come up. There is shots from down here, but it's hard to get around this corner and get in that area. And you do have a great shot from here. When this hole first came out and when the game first started, it was weird on how the holes worked, because there were some holes where the second cut of the rough, like here's the first cut, here's the second cut. The second cut of the rough was out of bounds. And if you ended up in the tree areas, you were still in play. Now they've got it set up so that the second and third and even fourth cuts of the rough are still in play, but sometimes when you end up in heavy trees like this, it's out of bounds. And there was a shot that we were able to do when this game first came out, if you had the wind right. And it especially worked if you were in like expert and you had a big tailwind where you could come this way and try and get into this area. And you had to have everything go your way. But I don't know that that's a shot that we've ever, and if we have been able to take it in Ricky, it has only been since the beginning of the game, and then they either slightly modified this hole and made it so that that's not a shot anymore. But we do have power 5 balls with topspin boost, and I'm just curious if we could get out into that area. So I'm going to practice this one. And I'm not going to worry about whether or not I get my first shot off. I'm just going to go out there, and you can take this with a katana. You don't have to bring out anything special on this hole. But I'm going to try one of the big power 5 balls. Let's see which way the wind's blowing, but I'm going to try with a big power 5 ball just to see if I could get, I may not take the shot, but I want to see if it's even possible that you could get out to that area. And it would definitely be something that you could probably only do if you had tailwind. So it's not a shot that you could take every time, but if you have the right wind, it could be a shot that you could pull out of the bag. This is not, in my opinion, a super high, and I'm sure that somebody's got the shot. If you watch my buddy Hammer and Hank on the Screws Golf, he's probably got it figured out on here to the gnat's ass where he can make this shot damn near every time. So I'm sure that there are people out there that have figured out how to make this hole every time. But in my opinion, this is not a super high percentage par 4 to get the eagle on. People trying to get around the corner, if you're trying to get around the corner, you will need to bring a bigger ball. You'll need to get out there farther so that your curl can become effective. Where are those albatross balls? Hey, get on there, bitch. See, I think you'd have to have some tailwind in order to push you up there, but it might be possible. It might be. So I'm in minimum rock. I'm just going to do it with my sniper. It's a sniper hole, and I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to take it. I'm just trying to lay it up out there in the fairway, so try and stay as much in the middle as you can when you're setting the shot up, and you could probably hit it 6 rings great to the left or the right, and it'll still be good. And that's the spot right there. I've got the full mouth is open to me. The tree's not going to be in my way. It's better to find a spot like that where you can get to over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, so you can really practice the second shot and really get it dialed in, than it is to do what my opponent did, where you're just trying some hero shot trying to get up there. But if there's a way for us to get up or right off the green in one, we have to at least look at it. I can think of another par 4 that's out there, a newer hole where we're hitting through the trees. Okay, we're at mid club. Three backspin. You can see how it's wanting to do some jiggy stuff. Mid club, that would be 4 rings. Well, it'd be 4-4. Hitting it perfect. Just a bit outside. You can see how the ball responds at the very end, because the way you're coming up there, it breaks to the left. It's got a lot of movement on it when it gets up there. This is one of those deals where if you're playing, you need to either put on more backspin and get closer to it, and they've got all their backspin on, or you're going to have to, there you go. You got to find a different spot, because that spot is not going to cut it. They hit that perfect, and it is in the hole. That was not perfect. Thus, it's not in the hole. I like these Sakura Hills holes. There's a lot of good fun. There's a lot of fun holes in it. There's a lot of the holes when the game first started, where like Vineyard Acres, when it first came out, it was in Greenwich Point, and even some of these Sakura Hills holes, where you had to, it wasn't like, hey, I got the longest drive. Well, getting the longest drive is not the goal. The goal is to get to a specific spot, because that spot was the spot. If you were not in that spot, even though you hit it farther, you weren't in the right, you weren't gonna, you just hampered yourself. I think if you use a power 5 ball, you don't have to use any overpower. And I really liked it where you had to pinpoint place your shots. You really had to get good at finding the right spot. There is, just recently we played a tournament where Dunner and I were out there practicing. We actually got hooked up during the practice and we found a spot. You were doing a layup, but you had to be in a specific area in order for, the trees were in the way no matter how you came at it. But if you were in the right spot, the trees weren't in the way. I'm still on this hole. I practiced it. Now I get another shot. Full one. I forgot I practiced that hole. Hitting it perfect. Now I get to try it again. So I'm going to do the same thing I did last time, but I'm going to do plus 10% because it looked like I needed to add on a little. And I'm going to stick to my guns on the Grizzly and do even though regardless of what ball I'm doing 0.9. And if the wind's over 2, it's minus 0.1. If it's at mid club, it's 1.0 plus 0.1. If it's minimum, it's 1.3 minus 0.1. So I'm going to do 10% times whatever the wind is, divided by 1 plus 1. We'll see if we can get it in there. And that area right there, like I said, is going to be the fail area. That's the deal. Oh, damn, I'm in Kingfisher. I'm in Max Kingfisher. Look at that. Look at that. That's 2.5. It's 1.1 per ring. If I add on 10%, those balance out, so it's 2.5 rings. Oh! I like being in maximum Kingfisher. If we'd had a little bit of headwind, I would have either needed a bigger ball or get a little teeny bit more distance, but you can't get more distance there because then you start to take yourself out of the range. You start to get more and more behind the sand where your first bounce is on the other side of the sand and you got to get your second bounce over, as opposed to being able to get your second bounce like in this area right here. Can you see my touches? No. My touches have disappeared again. Not good. That's what we call bad in the business. Bad. In the hole. All right. I'm only going to get 2 shots at that hole this week, and I really do like the Kingfisher as opposed to the... Anytime you can get into your short iron, it's good. That's good. Now they got that ball guide so far through there and they're short shooting, and I'm not a fan of short shooting. You can see how fast the ball was going through there. If it had missed the flagpole or hit the flagpole on the side, it might have bounced off. It's a draw. They saved their round. They recovered hole number 5. Oh, that was hole number 5 right there. Which way is the wind blowing here? All right, this is the hole I'm gonna bring out a power 5 ball. And I'm not sure if I can get over there with my Apocalypse. I'm gonna try my APOC. If not, I'll switch to my number 1 bag. The fail spot here, this hole Okay, if you got lower developed stuff or you're playing a one-on-one, a lot of times what you can do is you can just hit it over here. Now you can try and bounce through here with a max overpower shot and then like rough bump it out so that you can get over into this area. But if you're just starting to play the game and you got really low level stuff and you don't want to bring out a big power ball, you can hit over here. The difficulty about this is a layup. Okay? So when I hear the word layup, we're setting ourselves up for success to put ourselves in a good spot so that we can practice this shot over and over, and it's a wood shot. Over and over and over and over and over and over again. And this spot is higher, so you're up here and you're hitting way down here to the green. So there is a drop in elevation when you're hitting the second shot with your wood. But if you look at the terrain here, you can see that there is a ridge that runs along this and it all drops off pretty quick. So if you hit this ridge with any speed and it rolls off the ridge onto the downhill, it's very easy to end up in the rough over here, which isn't a problem if you've got mid-level upper developed Nirvana, but if you've got lower developed stuff, it could be an issue to try and get over here just to try and get recovered, not get on the green. As you think your wood, if you're using a sniper, it hits 172, and I think Nirvana maxed out hits 135. So it does have some topspin to help you get over there so that you could, you know, try and recover, but it could be difficult to do it. But if you're going for it, and in tournament play, we're not looking for a wood shot to go in on a par 4. What we're looking for is to try and get up into this area. And so we're going to be going through here. Now, you may find yourself, the deal is here is this is the danger area right here. So you want to bring out a big enough ball that you're in front of that so that you're up into this area. I think if you bring out a really big power ball, you can get up here and kind of take the sand a little bit out of play. But where you're hitting to try and get through is a narrow area. And if you put too much topspin on it, where you'll fail is that you can get over to the other side, but you'll end up in that sand trap. That sand trap will catch you. So we got to have enough topspin to make bounce number 1, bounce number 2 on the fairway, but then woe it up before we get to the sand. So there's a fine line on that. Here we go. Here we go. And I think from the tee box down there, we probably should be doing like a 10-20% adjustment on the drive. I go first because it is downhill. I can get in front of it. You can see from right there, even with no topspin. Just trying to get over. I want to put on like 1. If I put on a topspin and not overpower it, where does that put me? There's 5 with no overpower. 4 miles an hour. If I did 20%, that'd be 4.8. I'm gonna do, there's 3. Go right to there. Isn't it perfect? So if you bring out a power 3 ball, then I probably could have put on another 1.5 topspin. And it did push me off to the right, so if it's 4.8, 3 rings would be 4.5. So it should have been, I didn't move it, what did I move it, 2.5 rings, and I should have moved it like 3.25. So it did definitely push me off. That was a bad adjustment on my part. I don't know what I was thinking. And I'm not a fan, well, they're going to do overpower, so I guess it doesn't matter. On these particular type of holes, to make it so that you can standardize it and make it, give yourself the best opportunity, this is definitely a hole that we've got an opportunity to get eagle on. Not doing overpower is helpful. And I'm right at max club. Now I'm right at mid. 3.9. Hey. 1.8 rings. It was 1.9. Oh! One ring great to the left, and it was one ring great to the left. I was hoping that the wind was a little stronger. It would have put me right on the edge. And I slightly overpulled it, so I got nobody to blame but myself. Very makeable. Especially if we can get right up there where you can, if you've got a Nirvana, you can run it in. It's just like a normal chip-on shot. Definitely have opportunities on this hole. This isn't a musket, but it's definitely one that you have. If we were playing a full tournament, this would be a hole that you would definitely want to get, you know, you need to pick it up at least once on during a round. You may not pick it up on the front, but you need to pick it up on the back, or vice versa. Here we go. All right, hole number 6. Hole number 6. What is hole number 6? All right. The last time we played this tournament, I see a lot of people hitting out here, and I'm just not exactly sure why. I don't know who's the one that told people they should hit out here. Now, maybe if you're hitting from the back tees, you know, that's the spot you gotta, and then you're gonna have this shot coming in. But we can get so far down here from the front tees down into this area with a big power ball that even from the back tees they could get into this area. And if I'm taking a shot from distance from out here, you can, number one, I think the last time we played this, I kept wanting to see what the second shot was going to be, but the people either failed here or they shot it, they went too long and they ended up in the rough, and I never did get to see somebody shoot from the fairway to see actually what the shot is. I'm sure it's long iron, but just getting out to that area, because you're trying to get around the bend at the very end of your run. So you're, you know, if you start that curl off here, then you're putting this stuff into play, and it's hard to get deep down into this area because it's at the very end. What you can do is you can lay it up right here, and from there you've got a perfect rough bump, because the flagpole is like right in the middle. You got a nice rough bump. If you hit it way down here into the end where you're laying it up, you can still do the rough bump, but you're going to have to put a little bit of spin on it in order to bring it back to the cup. Or you can come straight at it. But if we do our arc from like this area out here, you're obviously shorter here than you are here. So this might be wood and this might be long iron. But it's a whole lot easier to get to this area than it is to try and get, at least from what I saw people playing, it looked like it was a whole lot easier. I'm going to go for this side over here. I'm going to try and bounce it from here, bring it over, and get it up. Now, you can clip this rough and just bleed up, and you still got a shot coming up. You still got some work to do. No matter what, you're probably going to still have some work to do. But I have overshot this and ended up here in the rough. But let's bring out I might be able to get it down with the Power 4 ball. I think I have. We'll try let's see what we got here. This is is this topspin boost? It is topspin boost. I'm not sure I need the precision on that. I think I had some 3-power topspin boost balls. That might be enough. Let's try one of those bad boys. And I think I'm going to need my number 1 back, because you need as much topspin as you can get. And I think even with a Power 5 ball, I I'm not going to guarantee it, but I think you still had to use overpower, maybe. Maybe. Okay, let's try it with just 2 extra top spin. I think that might work. It's putting me right on the edge down there, but I don't want to, I'd rather clip the rough, be a little short. I'm going to start off about 3.5 rings off of that transitional surface down there. 4-5. And I'm going to, it's 4-2. Here's 4-5. Hitting it perfect. See if I left myself enough room for the curl to become effective and still keep me in the fairway. Where it'll fail here is it'll bleed off. So I probably could have maybe just the 1 extra top spin, or maybe 1 1/4 with tailwind. What the hell, dude? Are you gonna like set the shot up, or are you just gonna take it? And I was pulling way off to the, so that type of shot, I'm pulling way off to the left to allow my curl to become effective. And that's going to be in the rough on the first bounce. Boom, in the drink. Water hazard. Dun, 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 dun. Wind should not be a factor, so I'm going to hedge my bet. If I hit a great to the right or a perfect, that should go in. If the wind is a factor, a perfect will go in. Hitting it perfect. In the hole! And wind was a little bit of a factor. It pushed me 1/4 of a cup. So if I hit it great to the right, it still might have went in. If the speed was right, it still might have went in, but I think it was going just a little bit too fast. If I'd hit it great to the right, I think it would have hit the edge of the cup and swirled out. My opponent is happy. Good luck in the tournament. I saved them. All right. Hole number 7. Looks like we might be able to qualify. Maybe. Shit, the scores are so low on these tournaments nowadays. You got to get a -50 in 9 holes just to be able to get it right. Now, if I remember correctly, this was a, I think you could do it with a katana, but I think it was Kingmaker extra mile, and you could just get right up off and then hit it in. I think this is a must-get hole, if I remember correctly, but I don't know that you have to bring out a Kingmaker. I think you can do it with a Titan. I mean, any 3-power ball, but I'm not so sure that you can't get it done with a katana, but I think if it was wind dependent, let's try it with a Titan. Titan, the king of balls. And let's see here. Let's think. I set up a bag for this tournament. I might be able to use Thor's hammer. Might actually work better. Gives me good ball guide. Pretty good distance. Accuracy is 64, so 50. 82. That could be like 1.7 per ring. Did I pick that? I did. Let's take that one Everything else looks good. If I need any of those other clubs other than my wedge, I've got bigger problems other than the fact that, oh, I can, did I bring a Titan? Did I switch to a Titan? Yes, I did. I've got much bigger problems if I can't, if I have to pull out the Horizon or the Goliath. Try and give ourselves as much room as possible on the drive. When you're hitting over water in this game, it's definitely going to affect the ball. It's not as bad over sand as it used to be, but it used to be the same thing over sand, especially when you're hitting over like the beachy. We got some of these courses that are on beaches where you're hitting over water and sand, and it's they're using a 3-power ball. Boom, boom. Getting it up there nicely. Very nice. Very nice. What do I got on there? 6 topspin? I'm going to put on 7. No, I'm going to put on 6.5. I'm at the plus 10 mark. It's 1.7 per ring. So that'd be 3-4 would be 2. I'm going to do the 3-4. I'm going to do a 2-ring pull. Trying to hit it perfect. Hitting it perfect. Right off the green. That's what we're looking for. Nice and easy. I don't use my Thor's hammer very often, but I found several of these holes that I'm used to having curl, because I don't use curl. I try to never use curl on the second shot unless you're in trouble, and you just got to use curl in order to recover. But like the money shot, you don't want to use curl because it's not replicatable. You want to put yourself in a spot where you do not have to use curl. But on drives, we use curl almost every shot, because you're trying to direct the ball in a certain area, and even if you hit it wrong to the left, if you got a little bit of right hand curl in there, it's still going to go to the right, and you could recover from it. And so we all liked it when we got our extra mile and it finally got some curl. So to then drop into a club that doesn't have curl feels weird. It feels wrong. We pretty much have to get that hole. I think there's at least a couple of the holes that we pretty much have to get, and that's one of them. All right, moving up the scales. I don't know what's at the top, but it's got to be, I think it's got to be like a 14 or 15, I would think. It seems like there's 2. We got 9, we got 2, 3 we got to get. That's 12. We got to pick up some more. So, I mean, you think that it has to be a 14 or better. It has to be. Hole number 8. Hole number 8. All right, so there's 2 ways you can play this, and Dunner and I play this different. He lays it up right here and goes at it, and I think from down here, you're down here, and here's where the green is. I think there was like a 10 or a 15% adjustment to work up the hill. I like to come at it from over on this side, and it's kind of tricky because you got to do an OP shot, and you've got to use an APOC because you need the curl, and trying to bring it up so that you're ending up down here, and this is long iron and this is short iron, and I'm pretty sure with my short iron I was doing a plus 10%. And the last time we played this, I think I was out in the clear like 3 times, and I was in the rough 3 times, and I was out in the clear twice, and I made it, or vice versa, but I made it like 3 of the 5 times from down in this area. So you can obviously you can recover from anywhere you go, but if I can get into my short iron range, I like that much more better. And I can't remember if I was using a 444, if I was using a, I think I did bring out a 444, because trying to get around the bend. Let's try it. And we'll bring bag number 5. Bag number 5. And it seemed like I was giving myself, for me, normally when I do max curl shots, I like to give myself 3 rings of separation, but I think I was pinching it a little bit, and I wasn't quite giving myself 3, but the wind was definitely pushing it off, so probably need to do like a 10-20% adjustment on the drive. See which way my opponent's going to go. I'm almost positive they're going to lay it up down at the bottom. One of the things I don't like about laying up at the bottom is that freaking flagpole, or that light pole that their ball guide's going through, is in play. The lamp posts on this course are in play. And so if you get that wrong and you hit that lamp post, you are in big ass trouble. I'm not sure even if they catch that and they use the wind, whether or not they're going to be able to get through the rough. And that little bit of curl is putting them. They set it up, didn't adjust the wind out, and then put on some left-hand curl. Yeah, you would have been better off just bringing out a 3 power ball or a 2 power ball and laying it up. I think Dunner uses a katana. The side spin is more important than the top. I think I was giving myself about 2.5 rings. I'm going to give myself 4 rings of separation because of the curl. Actually, I'm not so sure. I shouldn't be doing 5. I'm going to give myself 5 rings. 2-1, it should be a ring and a third. I'm going to do a ring and a half. I'm going to put the forward power back on, which is no forward power. Hitting it perfect. See if I missed that tree. And 5 rings was. Probably could have went 5.5. I'm going to do a 15% adjustment from there. I know that there is an adjustment. It might have been one of those ones where one of the benefits of doing this stuff by hand math as opposed to using the app is you can do like 12.5, or you can do 10 plus 1, or you can adjust for that. I should be in my Kingfisher, which is 1.1. I play my Kingfisher 1.1, 1.9, 2.1. I know that those are not the numbers, but I've played it that way for a long time. Had a lot of success with it. Where am I at in my Kingfisher? There's max. There's mid. I'm in mid club. So I'm at the 1.9 per ring. 1.6, excuse me. Times 2.2 equals divided by 1.6. 1.58 rings. 1.6 rings. Oh! That's 2. And I came in and hit it great. I've hit a lot of perfects today, but I hit 2 into the cup great to the right and missed both of them. Just great to the right. That's two I could have potentially got. That was right there. But I think if I do that shot again, I'm more interested in the 4 side spin than I am the top spin. So getting as much side spin as you can, all the side spin, and then however much top spin is left. And giving myself maybe 5 1/4 rings. Maybe 5 1/2. If I'd hit anything on the inside, which is to the left, I would have ended up in that rough over there. So, I had a mile of fairway to the right. So, and my distance wasn't so bad that if I would have hit it great to the right, I still would have been in the fairway. All right, hole number 9. So, what I'm saying there is where I came through was pretty damn close on this trajectory and ending up right out in this area. If I would have moved myself out on my original setup another half a ring, I would have came through like this. And even if I'd hit it great to the right, if you look at distance, I think I still would have ended up here and not ended up in the rough. But I think the key there is putting on the 4 side spin and then however much top spin is left. If you don't have, if you put on the 4 side spin and you don't have that much top spin, you may end up out here, but you're still where I was at. I was in mid club. So you're definitely going to be in your short iron if you can get up out here with a 4 power ball. And I'd rather hit it with my short iron. I would. Hole number 9. What is hole number 9? What do we have in store? Okay. All right. I'm going to practice this hole too, because this is another one of the old holes. And in one-on-one play, I always lay it up right here, as far up into this corner as possible. And the reason is that, like, I play this hole with you can play this hole with a marlin. So if you're playing it with a low side spin ball, the deal is when you're coming into the cup, you've got to contend with this little rough transition area right here. So if you draw a line from the flagpole along that rough area, it's out here. So you're not going to be able to get on the other side where you can just take a straight up shot and not have to put any spin on it. So if you're in this area right here, you're going to be facing off in this direction. So you'll have to put some spin to bring it back around to the cup. And so the farther you can get over here, the less spin you have to get. And you can compensate for it if you don't have a ball that's got a lot of spin by pinching up against this area. And this, I can tell you right now, anybody who's played this game for any length of time has epic failed on this, where you pinched up against this and ended up in the sand. Giving yourself a little bit of room here so that we can try and work it around. So if you do hit a great to the left or the right, you're not going to end up in the sand. Give yourself some room. So in one-on-one, I always hit it up to here to try and give myself the best angle at it. You'll see a lot of people hitting it down into here and they can come straight at it. Now there's several ways. If you're hitting it straight at it from this spot, there's several ways that you can play this. You can do a rough bump. There is a rough bump that you can do here to get it up, but this is not one of my types of rough bumps. I don't mind rough bumps, but this is not my type of rough bump. Number one, if the wind is blowing from any of the directions where you have to pull over the sand, you have very little room for maneuver. So you're going to have to bring out a ball that's got low wind. Otherwise, you're going to have to involve the sand. And you know how sand works on the rings. The rings are here, and then the ring that's in the sand is like this, and then the next ring is like, and so it really distorts the rings, and you have to allow for that. Normally what I do in this situation is I try and draw the line in my imaginary mind where it's like this is where the ring would be, and even though the ring is extending out to here, this is, if I'm pulling 2 rings, I'd only pull to this spot. So if you ever see me take a shot like this and you're like, dude, you said it was 2 rings and then you didn't pull all the way down here to the bottom, because what I'm doing is trying to extrapolate in my mind like where that ring would be if it wasn't being distorted, and that's where I'm going to pull to. I'm not going to pull down to here. Now, what you'll have a lot of people do is they pull the 2 rings and then they put a half a ring back in it, or they put in a third of a ring back in it. And that works as well, but just different techniques for trying to adjust for this distortion of the rings. But it's bad when you're down in here and you've got to make that, because this rough bump, this area goes sand, and here's the green up here, and here's the rough. So if you hit this at just a little bit wrong, it's going to go straight up in the air and go right back into the sand. This is just like that other hole. And if you hit it just a little bit too far forward, let's say you had wind that was like this and you didn't adjust it right, and it pushes you up here on the flat. Now you got a ball that's going to jump forward. So there's a very small window where it's actually going to respond the way that you want it to. This is not my favorite type of rough bump because it's so damn steep here. So if you're coming at it from this spot down here, your choices are doing a rough bump or you have to backspin it. So you want to make sure that your second club is a backspin club. And I'm pretty sure, I know that this area back here is a wood, but if you bring out a big enough ball, it might be in your long iron range. This might be in your long iron range. But you'd want to bring out a long iron like a Grim Reaper or something that's got, so you have some backspin options. There is another way, and I've done this shot, I've tried this shot quite a few times back in the day before we had all these big topspin boost balls, to try and get up through this gap. The first time I ever saw this, when this hole first came out, Zachary Jones was on here. This is way back in the day, like in 2017 when these holes first came out. And with a Berserker, with tailwind, we had the right kind of wind, hitting it down into here, and was able to bleed it up and just like get up into this area. Now you've got a much better shot coming out, especially if you can break loose even a little bit to get out into here. Now you got a much better shot. But I think with some of these bigger balls, these topspin boost balls, we might be able to get up into that area. Hold on a second. All right, I'm gonna put my little tin hat on here. Phone companies allow these spam calls to come through our phones, and everybody's got a cell phone. I mean, I'm sure that somebody has a landline, but everybody's got cell phones. And we pay for the service, yet I get on average about 17 robocalls a day. And I'm paying for the service, and they're giving me like 17 robocalls a day, especially on my work phone where I get robocalls. Why am I paying for a service where you allow it? So they're like, well, you know, they are making money on that deal. That's why they allow, if they went, whoa, you would think that all of these robocalls that are going on, because there's a robocall every 2.5 milliseconds in the United States, that they would go, wait a second, this is really taking up our network space and our bandwidth space, and that's bad for business. We need to get rid of all of these robocalls. If that was the case, we would never get robocalls because the phone companies would get rid of it. But if the phone companies are making money off of the robocalls, why would they get rid of something that makes them money? Okay, because they're not about customer service. They could give a shit whether me and you are getting good customer service or not. They just want our money every month. Okay, and if they can get money off of these people that are making robocalls, they're going to allow the robocalls to happen. So when I've talked to some people that are in that industry, and they're like, oh, no, you guys love robocalls because you must be making money off of it. You've got to be making money off of it. And otherwise, you guys would get rid of it. But yet I'm a customer, and now I have to deal with your robocalls because you're getting money off of it. And if they cut it out so that robocalls wouldn't come through, then the robocall people would go, well, why are we paying you money? So don't let them bullshit you. They're making money off that deal. Let's go practice this one time and see what we can get. I've got a 4-power topspin boost ball, and I'm going to bring it out because I only have 3 of those Albatross balls. The 5-power. Where are my power? 4 power. There's our 2. Is that the one I have? I think that might be it. No. Here it is. 5 topspin boost. Let's try. No, that's a 3 power. I really think I need a 4 power. Probably need a 5, but let's just see what it looks like. Let's make sure. Yeah, okay. And I need something that hits as far as I can possibly go. We'll see. We'll practice it one time. If I don't like that, I'm just going to bring out a... you really want a 3-side spin ball for the second shot. It gives you more options. So like either bring in a Katana or a Kingmaker. If you've got a ball that's got 4 side spin, that will help too. Okay. Gotta remember what I'm doing here. Play practice. Only Playdemic could screw up a 6-shooter. I'm not sure how many I have left on this, but I think I started off with 3 or 4, and I think I've practiced 3. But I played 8 holes, so like you buy something to give you practice tokens, and then it's a lottery whether or not you actually get a practice token. And there's no way to just buy practice tokens unless you buy the golf pass. I don't know about you, but I don't need any more monthly bills. Practice. Well, let's see which way they're going. I think they're going that way as well. I think they're going to go for it. Yep. Man, I think that's gonna epic fail. I think they're gonna hit it too far. Now it is pushing them over into the longer part of the fairway. They just barely made that second bounce. That was not. They should have moved it to the right, put some left spin on it to get into the deepest part of that fairway. I'm almost okay with the, I'm going to put a little bit of right-hand side spin on it. I'm going to take at least 2 of that wind out. I've got a little bit of room down there. Oh, that was 700 rings great to the left. Now that is something that we were not able, well, you could see with the Berserker that you could get over there, but it's a tough deal with the Berserker. But with these topspin boost balls, it opens up some window, especially with the 5-power topspin boost ball. I'm not sure. And you can see this. Yeah, that is not good. Not good. Yeah, what are you all mad about, dude? You took the shot. Shit. What are y'all upset about? The most important part of a rough bump is hitting the rough. Oh, there's Max Kingfisher. Shit, you're in short iron range over here. There's men. There's Max. So I'm at mid club, which is 1.6 per ring. I'm going to put 1 backspin on it. 3.3 divided by 1.6, like 2.1 rings. And that's with no extra. Getting it perfect. In hole. Good luck in the tournament. Let's try that again. Not sure I'm going to get so lucky on the drive, but we'll try that again. And it looked like from the way the wind was blowing there, I probably could have put on maybe plus 0.1 or a half. These are prime examples of why when you're playing these old holes and like people are playing them the same way they played them in the past, you got to go look at them. You got to pull out some ball inventory and go look at them and see what's possible. But I am not a fan of hitting up to the front of that, like where my opponent's trying to hit and trying to do that rough bump. And I'm not saying that you can't make that shot. It's just that is not my cup of tea. It's such a big fail point. It's so easy to epic fail there that I'm just not interested. But I think my buddy Dunner, I think that's the shot that he takes. And they'll still be in a great spot from right there. That's the angle that they were looking for. .5. Here's, I'm going to do 1 3/4 rings. Hit it the same as I did before, 1 ring great to the left. As long as the second bounce hits the fairway, I think I might be all right. Yes, sir. I'm going to do a straight up shot. Plus .1. Should be mid club. I'll check it out. It should be about mid clubs, which is 1.6 per ring. Is how I play my Kingfisher. Charge your tablet. Here we go. Nice little rough bump. They got their adjustment right. You can see how steep it is right there. I'm just not a fan of that. Not a fan. 3.8. It's 2.37, so maybe 2.4 rings. Let's see where I'm at. There's man. I'm about mid club. 1 backspin. .4 rings. Oh, the 3 shots coming into the cup that I missed, and just like, oh, right there. And 2 of them I made it in the freaking practice and didn't make it on the course. But I think those are right there. Right there. That's 3 drop shots. I think I still had a pretty good round, but man, it would have been nice to pick those up. I like par 4s. I have made my career on par 4s. When I played all the time, pretty much every waking hour I was playing a game, I was playing Golf Clash, putting in my 40 hours a week. My results were much better when you play a lot. That's for damn sure. But par 4s are where I've always, the par 4s are what sets you up for a win. And the par 3s and the par 5s are what win you tournaments. I like par 4s. Yeah, 14 at the top. Very easily could have got there. There's a few of those, like 3 of them, did not hit perfect into the cup, and perfect would have been in the cup. So I really think in the weekend round, or the final round here, you're going to have to shoot a 15 or better in order to get a win. Some brackets, you're going to be able to get a banner maybe with a -14, but I think if you're looking for the win, it's 15 or better to get the win. And if you think about it, that's picking up 6 out of 9. And we've got 3 that I think we can pick up pretty easily. And if we put ourselves in the right spot, we can pick. There's some of them that are not what I would consider, like, you can make eagles on them, but they're not like, you know, they're not like a lot of these par 4s where we can get like right up on it or right off the green. You're still got some work to do on the other side, and the approach shot has some, where we're hitting off of gives us the opportunity for irregular bounces. And so we still have some that we're going to have to do some work on. But I think this is a very, very good tournament. These holes are gonna, I think they picked some pretty good holes for this. We do have holes that we can get up on, but we do have some holes that we still have some work to do. All right, that was my opening qualifying round for the Far East 9-hole Cup. Hopefully the sound worked on this. If the sound didn't work, you won't see it, and you'll never know that I shot this video. But if the sound works, this will be the first time all week that I've been able to get my sound to work. Thanks for watching.